With no shortage of affordable pre-owned 5 Series BMWs and E-Class Mercedes, the used luxury car market is seemingly dominated by the Germans. So maybe you'll be surprised to find that the subject of this video is from somewhere else entirely, Sweden. Being the second generation of Volvo's S80 luxury sedan, the car ran from 2006 all the way to 2016. Now, I've driven many cars that I've considered bargains over the years, but this is one that I can barely believe is possible. This 2009 S80 T6 has 120,000 miles and sold for just $5,400. Especially at that price point, I think it's time for us to take a closer look at what makes the S80 such a compelling option, even when compared to its German rivals. Now, driving down the road, the first thing that you're going to notice is the ride quality. Compared to a 5 Series or an Audi A6, this rides better. It just does, because it's not trying to attempt to be sporty. It glides down the road in such a way where the sharpest of bumps don't really enter the cabin. And it's so relaxing by comparison to some of the cars that, say, I've owned. I've owned a lot of 3 Series BMWs, even a 5 Series BMW, and I've got a Z4M right now. And when you drive those cars, you feel every little thing. And if it's going to be your daily commuter car, where you don't need that absolute performance level, this is such a nice compromise. It just feels capable and competent, but it doesn't feel like a performance car. If you're going into this expecting it to rival a 5 Series in the involvement that you get when you drive it, it's not going to be that. This is a perfect commuter, and it's a perfect luxury car if you don't plan on driving it hard. But if you want something that's going to be involving to drive, you already know probably that you should be looking elsewhere. And even Volvo sells other cars that are more sporty than this, like something like a V70R or even a V70 on its own. It stays nice and flat through corners in a way that you wouldn't expect it to. When you drive quickly, not necessarily aggressively, the body roll is almost imperceptible in the cabin, and that's nice because you don't end up sliding around in your seat all that much. And when you combine that with the soft ride, it really makes for a relaxing driving experience, in particular if you're going long distance or it's going to be something that you drive every day. It doesn't encourage you to drive quickly in the way that some other cars do, because it just wasn't built for that. The steering is very light and it lacks almost any semblance of feel. You really can't tell what the front tires are doing, and you shouldn't be pushing the car hard enough anyway for it to really matter. It's not that type of vehicle. Despite that, the steering is still very accurate. You can place the car very easily on the road and you just don't have to think about it that much. I think that's another part of the fact that this just isn't a sports sedan. It's set up to be a pure luxury vehicle, and so steering feel wasn't one of their priorities when they were building it. This Volvo S80 T6 is equipped with Volvo's 3-liter inline-6 turbo, and it's silky smooth and nice and powerful. Again, it's not the type of powertrain that's begging for you to push it hard. It's just always there. It's always adequate. It gives you the right amount of performance for the type of car this is. With 281 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, it's actually pretty comparable to other turbocharged inline-6s of this era. A 335 or 535 was only making 300 and 300, so it's not much less. And to be totally honest with you, I actually did a bit of a rolling race between this and my 2011 335i, which smaller car, a BMW inline-6 turbo, so same kind of engine configuration. And although the 335 walked away from it, it was a bit closer than I'd like to admit, to be totally honest. So this is not a slow car. This T6 moves out just fine, and for a daily driver, it's more than adequate. Like I said, the power's not overly impressive, especially by modern standards, and that's probably not why you're looking to buy this car anyway, but it's a nice luxurious power plant. I've got to say, even compared to a BMW inline-6, it's so silky smooth. There's no vibration that enters the cabin really. And the overwhelming majority of the time that you're driving it, this engine is silent. Unless you're like full throttle, even then you just get a nice kind of sonorous inline-six engine note, but it's never intrusive whatsoever. The engine just never feels stressed. In most scenarios, you're not even going to be needing more than like 2,500 RPM, and it's going to be short shifting through the 6-speed automatic. And that's nice because it just never feels like it's working that hard. It adds to that luxury experience. And what you're going to start to notice throughout this review is that there's a coherence to this car that something like a 5 Series can sometimes lack, because it's trying to push this this narrative that it's a sports sedan and that it's got this high level of performance and luxury. Whereas this is just trying to be a luxury sedan, and it makes a very coherent package because they can focus on one thing. Now, this 6-speed auto in this 2009 was eventually replaced by an 8-speed automatic, but even this older 6-speed, it's a nice transmission. For the type of car this is, it shifts quick enough. It's not something that you're really going to be noticing or caring about most of the time, but the thing that does matter is it shifts extremely smooth. It seems to unlock the torque converter most of the time, so you just get that silky smooth shift. It may not be the fastest thing in the world, and I'm sure it's not, but it's a part of the driving experience that you're not going to notice, and in this type of car, that's a good thing. Now, you can take full manual control of the transmission, and it's actually surprisingly responsive. Like, it's about as responsive as a BMW of this generation in automatic. Even my 335i, which is newer than this, I would say this is about as responsive as that is. Overall, dynamically, this is one of those cars that is capable and can go down a road quite quickly, but I find myself not wanting to, because when I'm in this car, I want to relax. I want to get to the destination nice and quietly and smoothly. Now, the first thing that you're going to notice when you get in the S80 is the high comfort level and the attention to detail in terms of ergonomics. Ergonomics being where your hands fall, how comfortable of a position you can get in, and how easily you get there. It's really impressive the way that they set up this interior. Everything is at the right level for you to get perfectly comfortable. The sill is at the right point. It's not too low to where your arm is kind of drooping down. It's nice and up high where you can keep a nice vertical posture. The seats are unbelievably comfortable. It seems to be a theme with Volvos where they're just extremely soft, and yet they're still pretty supportive. They'll hold you in somewhat, but it's not that type of car. You don't need a lot of bolstering in an S80 because you're probably not going to be driving it that quickly. Because of that attention to detail when it comes to comfort and ergonomics and the material choices on the places that you interact, you find that, or at least I find that, I'm less fatigued when I get out of this car than even when I drive other luxury sedans, like 3 Series BMWs, or even my old E60 5 Series, which was part of the direct competition that this car had in its day. I owned an E60, and right off the bat, this is a more luxurious car. There's more attention to detail in terms of luxury than that car had. The E60 was famously extremely complicated, and it was at a time when BMW was primarily looking at technology and performance rather than luxury for the most part, whereas this is wholeheartedly focused to a luxury driving experience. Like I said earlier, this car was being built from 2006 all the way to 2019, so this 2009 is somewhere in the middle. And over the course of its life cycle, they continue to update it with a ridiculous amount of options. I mean, at one point, you could get an S80 Executive that had massage seats, heated and cooled seats, every type of safety equipment that you can imagine. Now, talking about safety and the build quality again, when you just close the door on this car, it's like closing a bank vault. It's amazing how heavy and secure and sturdy this car is. There's so much emphasis placed on the safety, and that's something that Volvo's been doing for decades, obviously. But this feels like a car, especially considering the size, that you would be perfectly safe in a variety of different kind of crash scenarios. I'm perfectly comfortable in this car, and I'm extremely confident in its ability to protect me if something like that was to happen. And that's important. If you're going to be driving a car every day, it's really nice to know, especially considering the way that people drive these days, that it's going to have your back. It's going to protect you if the worst happens and you get into some kind of accident. As far as the exterior styling is concerned, I mean, you've seen it, it's understated. And it's not going to draw much attention at all, even less so than probably a 5 Series BMW or an Audi A6 or something along those lines. This flies way under the radar, and for a lot of people, that's going to be what they want. It's a simple yet aesthetically pleasing design, and that's nice because although it doesn't drag attention to you and people aren't going to be going, "Oh, what's that?" you can still park it in front of a nice restaurant and it's not going to look out of place. Between the interior comfort and ergonomics, that silky smooth and under-stressed engine, it's a car that I would really like to have to drive every day. If I had a long commute, this would be one of my first choices, especially considering the price point under $10,000. The Volvo S80 offers a high level of luxury, one that easily matches its German rivals and in some ways even surpasses them. The S80 completely avoids the pitfall that even the F10 5 Series fell into, trying too hard to be sporty and luxurious and failing to truly master either. This makes no attempt to be a sports sedan, and honestly, it's better for it.